Welcome! I'm Miss Carrie and this is Miss Danica for today's lesson. In previous programs together, we talked about water and where you find it in the world. If you remember our All the Water in the World lesson, as well as the water cycle where you guys went from can to can pretending to be a water droplet, we learned about where water is stored on the earth after it gets here. After precipitation brings it here, then it has to be in some water storage places. And also when you're thinking about those water storage places, remember that water comes in 3 stages. And 2 of those stages that we can find as this surface water, either as a liquid or as a solid. And so I'm going to use this picture from the book that we used called Pitter and Patter to spur your memories and remind you of some of those places where we can find water on the earth after it gets here. So that will be places like ponds, lakes, rivers, streams, brooks, creeks, the ocean. Water's even stored in plants and animals, in glaciers, on ice caps, in the snow, and even underground. That third stage of water, that when water turns to a gas and goes back up into the atmosphere, that's called evaporation. And that's when the water goes back up into the clouds. It completes the circle and makes this process what we call a cycle. It is a pattern in nature that we can depend on. It's always going to happen, but the journey that the water droplets may take can change. So today we're going to focus on one of those water storage places, in particular, plants. More specifically, trees. But first, how do we get new trees? The answer is seeds. But seeds need some things in order to grow or germinate. Germinate means to grow. And so the things that they need are sunlight, air, soil, and water. I would like you to listen to my story, and as I tell you about it, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I want you to listen for some products that are made from trees. So today, I'm using the book Michael Recycle as the basis for our activities. So here we go. The book starts with this town called Aberdourimy, and they don't really take care of anything. They don't throw their garbage where it goes. They kind of just throw things wherever they want. And so they were really lazy, and the town got really gross. And then one day, the Cape Crusader, Michael Recycle, comes in to save the day and tells them, "Hey, people, you need to recycle." And they're like, "We don't even know what you're talking about." And so he explains to them about how things can be turned into new products and taken out of the garbage stream. And so they learn about it, and he shows them and talks about it. And then they decide that a clean and green town is what they really want. So they're going to pitch in together and start cleaning up. And so they do. And as they're cleaning, they get really excited because things are looking really good. And they start recycling things like paper and plastic and glass. And then they want to have a celebration. And so in their celebration, they use green toilet paper to decorate, but then they rolled it up to use it again later. So eventually, Michael comes back, and they're praising him and saying, he taught us how to do this stuff. And then Michael disappears, and they can't find him because, you know what, honestly, they don't need him anymore. They already learned their lessons on how to recycle. But yet in the background, we hear some clunking, and that could be Michael recycling old junk.
So what are some of the things in the story that come from trees? If you guessed paper and toilet paper, you would be correct. I have some items here that are things that are made from trees, some products that were made from trees. Some things like paper towels and some napkins to clean up any messes you make, and, maybe a paper plate that you might have had your lunch on. some cardboard items like packaging in some things, and, well, we also need some toilet paper too. Maybe some of you like to write on paper, and in order to do that, you're going to need a pencil, both things made from trees. Maybe after that, you're ready to play a game. Things like decks of cards are made from trees. Maybe you don't want to play a game. Maybe you could read a book. And of course, books are definitely made from trees. Oh, if you're feeling a little hungry, you might go to your freezer for a snack, and that snack might be something like a popsicle. And of course, on those popsicles are popsicle sticks. Another sweet item that comes from trees is maple syrup that comes from maple trees. And maybe you're playing outside or maybe helping mom and dad do some landscaping. You're going to need some mulch. And you might even cut up some trees and get yourself some cool little tree cookies.
We use a lot of those items every day, so we know that trees are important. But what are some other things that trees do for us? I have some written down. First of all, on a hot day, we like to sit under a tree to cool us down. Not only do they cool us down, they also can be planted by your house to keep your house cooler. Mm-hmm. One of the really important ones, I don't know about you, but I like breathing.
I do too.
Yeah, oxygen. They produce oxygen. We have other things like, well, they just flat out look pretty, because it would be pretty boring if you looked outside and didn't see any trees or plants. Plants are food sources for animals. Can be animal homes. They can produce medicines. They are raw materials or natural resources to make other stuff like furniture, paper, buildings, even chemicals and paint. I know. You already mentioned the wood chips for the landscaping, and I saw your deck of cards, which reminded me that toys, there are a lot of toys that are made from trees, including games. I like to play board games.
I do too.
And you mentioned reading books.
Oh,
and
yes.
Sometimes even fun kids' furniture.
Miss Carrie, why do you have a star by two of those things on your list?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Miss Danica. Plants and animals have a relationship all of their own. It's kind of a two-way street. Plants don't have feet, so they need animals to move their seeds around so those seeds have a better chance of being able to grow. But then keep in mind, the animals can eat those seeds too.
That's very true. When you say grow, do you mean germinate? Germinate means to grow. But plants need more than seeds just being moved to be able to grow. Kids, remember, it's a competition, like a baseball game. The seeds are competing for the 4 things seeds need in order to grow. If you remember from our picture earlier, those things are sunlight, soil, air, and water.
Also, plants depend on animals, and here in Iowa, in this case, insects, for pollination. You know, that yellow stuff that's on the flowers? Well, that yellow stuff is called pollen. It also needs to be moved, but this time it needs to go from flower to flower so that tree can eventually produce fruit.
Oh, like an apple tree?
Exactly.
Wow, trees have a really big job. Everything from producing some foods that we eat to providing lumber for the houses we live in.
You're right. Hey, everybody, look around the room that you're in. Can you find things made from trees? Pause the video while you look.
What kind of things did you find? Maybe chairs? Or maybe other furniture? What about books or Kleenexes? Pictures in frames on the wall? Even paper?
All those things you're mentioning are products. Those are products that are made from trees.
So, that makes trees a natural resource. Something that we use that comes from nature. You make paper from trees. Actually, now that I think about it, we use a lot of paper in our everyday lives. And looking at all those products, we sure use a lot of products that come from trees every single day. This kind of concerns me. Can we ever run out?
Well, luckily, trees are what we call a renewable resource. Remember, a resource is something that we use. But when you put the word renewable in front of it, that makes it something we use that keeps on going or renewing itself.
That's right. Earlier in today's lesson, we talked about seeds. Seeds are how plants, including trees, keep on going once they find the right place to grow.
Now stop and think about that. Just because trees make new seeds to create new trees, does that mean that you can keep cutting down trees over and over? Do trees grow overnight?
Well, no. So what can we do? I like reading books and writing on paper and sitting in chairs.
Well, again, let's use our brains and think. What can be done to save trees and not use as many?
Oh, I know. Recycle.
Yes. Recycle means to take something and turn it into something new. Can you think of things that recycled paper can be turned into?
Well, sure. I have a whole list right here. Everything from notebooks to kitty litter to paper plants to Kleenexes. All of those things can be made from recycled paper.
Not only paper products like newspaper and cardboard and magazines are recyclable, there are other items that can be recycled too, like plastics, glass, and even tin or aluminum cans.
Well, be sure to contact your local recycling center to find out what you can and can't put in your recycling bins. That's all for now. Bye!